Welcome back to AWS Solution Architect Associate. So in today's session, we'll be going through module 13 knowledge check. So we need to score 70% in order to complete this knowledge check. So let's start. So what are the three characteristics of component in a microservice architecture? So we will select three: open source code, industry standard interface, hidden implementation, specialized function, HTTPS communication, independent from the component. So it's hidden implementation, specialized function, and it should be independent from the other component. So what's a container? An operating system that runs a virtual machine, a method of operating system virtualization, a virtual storage location in the cloud, a portable package of code in libraries. The answer should be a method of operating system virtualization. Correct? So what is the most effective use of Amazon Elastic Container Service, Amazon ECS, when reflecting a monolithic application to use a microservice architecture? Create services that each provide a distinct function of the application and run each service in a separate container that Amazon ECS manages. Create services that each provide a distinct function of an application and run each services in a single container that Amazon ECS manages. Port the application to a new image and run it in a container that Amazon ECS manages. Refactor the application and centralize command function to create a smaller code footprint. So I think your answer should be create services that each provide a distinct function of the application and run each service in a separate container that Amazon ECS manages. So let's select this and let's submit. So what is AWS Fargate? A fully managed service for orchestrating containers cluster, a tool for developing software that uses field programmable get array FPGA, a service that seamlessly extends AWS services to edge devices, a service that enables you to run container without needing to manage servers or cluster. So I think the answer should be a service that enables you to run containers without needing to manage servers or clusters. So let's submit and let's continue with question number 5. What is a serverless architecture in Amazon Web Services? An architecture that does not use any on-premise servers, an architecture that only uses managed services, an architecture where you do not provision or manage infrastructure, an architecture that uses microservice instead of monolithic servers. So here the answer should be an architecture where you do not provision or manage infrastructure. So this is correct. Question number 6. What are benefits of serverless computing in Amazon Web Services? Lower total cost ownership, less complicated software architecture, more focus on the application, ability to build microservice application, looser coupling between components, automatic fault tolerant. So here the answer should be like lower total cost of ownership, more focus on the application, and ability to build microservice application. I think this should be the answer. How can you scale AWS Lambda function to ensure high availability? Provision enough function instance to meet the maximum predicted load, launch function in autoscaling group, enable automatic scaling in the function, do nothing special because functions scale automatically. So in AWS, the AWS Lambda function, it scales automatically, so we don't have to do anything. So the answer should be this one, correct? An environmental science organization wants you to provide HTTPS read-only access to its sensor and database to any user around the world. The goal is enabling users to create their own custom real-time data visualization to help improve climate science. Which solution is efficient and secure? Create a web proxy server on Amazon EC2 instance in an auto-scaling group, which is served by an Elastic Load Balancer. Create an user account in the organization system to allow access. Create a public interface to the sensor and database by using Amazon API Gateway. Create a microservice architecture by using Amazon ECS, Amazon Elastic Container Service. So here I think the answer should be to create a public interface to the sensors and database by using Amazon API Gateway. Okay. Which workflow are supported by AWS Step Functions? Update inventory and initiate shipments when a customer purchases an item on an e-commerce site. Send message to multiple Amazon EC2 instances when a file is created or modified in a Amazon S3 bucket. Consolidate data from multiple databases into unified reports. Notify a group of email addresses when the cost of AWS account exceeds an threshold. Deploy different kind of infrastructure that are based on variables. Coordinate multi-step analytics and machine learning workflow. So I think here the answer should be update inventory and initiate shipment when a customer purchases an item on e-commerce site. and consolidate data from multiple databases into unified report, and coordinate multi-step analytics and machine learning workflow. I think this should be the correct answer. Okay. So what is serverless solution for creating a simple web form? Host static assets in an Amazon S3 bucket, use an Amazon DynamoDB table, and use Amazon API gateway and Amazon Lambda function to interact with the database. Host website assets in a container in an Amazon ECS cluster. Use an Amazon DynamoDB table and use server-side script to interact with the database. Host static assets in an Amazon S3 bucket. Use an Amazon RDS database and use Amazon API gateway and Amazon Lambda function to interact with the database. Host website assets in container in an Amazon ECS cluster. Use an Amazon RDS database and use server-side script to interact with the database. So I think the answer should be to host static assets in an Amazon S3 bucket, and we can use Amazon DynamoDB table and use Amazon API gateway and Amazon AWS Lambda function to interact with the database. So I think this should be the answer. Correct. Okay, so we're able to solve 10 out of 10 questions and we're able to score 100%. I hope you are also able to score 10 out of 10 and hope to see you in another section. Bye-bye.